Gopala Astrology channel, where the science meets astrology for common man's understanding. Subscribe and stay tuned to this channel for continued astrological updates. Hello, welcome to Gopala Astrology channel. Today we are going to have one more interesting video. It's about Kuja Dosha or Chevvai Dosham in Tamil or Mangal Dosh in Hindi. So the topic is so interesting because whenever there is a matchmake that needs to be done between the couple who want to get married, they always go to an astrologer, and the astrologer tries to do the matchmaking. And one of the important parameters that we need to look in for the matchmaking is of the Kuja Dosha. So the Mars is related to this particular aspect. Planet Mars is nothing but Kuja or Angaraka or Mangal or Chevvai, right? So the placement of Mars in the horoscope plays a very significant role in the chart of both boy as well as girl. And then there is a particular combination which tells us that this marriage is suitable and the longevity of the marriage is going to be pretty good. And that's what we are going to understand. Please stick on to the video until the end, and you will have a lot of information about how to understand and interpret the Kuja Dosha and what are the possible remedies that can be given to overcome this. Let's go to the actual video. So here I'm going to be explaining in detail about the Kuja Dosha or Chevvai Dosham, or in Hindi we call it as Mangal Dosh, as I mentioned previously. So what exactly is Mars in terms of astronomy? So we all know that Mars is the fourth planet from Sun, and it is the second smallest rocky planet in the solar system. All right. So, in actual meaning, Mars in the Roman times, it was called as the planet of war, the god of war, or something like that. It's just we know it as a red planet, and recently we knew that we had made Mars landing. The rover already reached there, and we know that it's another simple planet like what it is, but astrologically speaking, what is Mars in our Vedic texts? That's what we are going to discuss today. All right. So, Mars in Vedic astrology again is a soldier which stands for the belief systems. Wherever the Mars is placed in your horoscope, you stand for those beliefs, whichever area it occupies. Wherever your energy goes in this birth, in this life, is shown by the presence of Mars there. Okay, Mars is really your energy, your dhairyam, your willpower, and vitality. That's what I can clearly say. Then Mars actually represents our ability towards taking action. Its planning is all about Mercury, and real action towards that is actually given by Mars. If Mars is weak, the people will be just thinking and they cannot take any action. All right, it represents the anger that we have. Sometimes we get angriness, and all that is done by our soldier inside of our body. It's all about the Mars. Okay, so we now know that the Mars is a very masculine energy. It is available and it helps to fight the battle for us. All right. Now, in general, what I'm going to define Mangal Dosh or the Chevvai Dosham in terms of this for everybody's understanding. Okay, if Mars is present in the Lagna, I'm here. Please understand. It's again a hypothetical chart. I'm putting Aries as the first house for convenience. It can be Taurus, it can be Gemini, it can be Cancer, or it can be any of these 12 of them. So you have to just switch the Lagna to that particular place and then see your own charts. Okay, please don't get confused. I have been seeing the comments from people saying that is it always Aries? No, it's wrong. I'm talking about Aries as the first one as a easy explanation. That's all. All right. So imagine the Mars is placed in the Lagna, or Mars is placed in the second house from Lagna, or the fourth house from Lagna. Okay, and then the seventh place, eighth place, and then lastly the 12th place. So if Mars is placed in any of these 6 locations purely from the ascendant, I'm talking about the ascendant. Okay, ascendant, it is known as Chevvai Dosham or the Mangal Dosh. So really, is it bad? Because you can literally see here Out of the 12 houses, Mars is shown as Chevvai Dosham in the six places already. That means 50% of all of the world's population should be with Mangal Dosh. See, our Shastras doesn't say this exactly. So it says that we are going to have Chevvai Dosham when Mars is placed in any of these six locations in our horoscope, but there is a lot of cancellation effects. Okay, and we also need to see if the intensity of this Mangal Dosh is more when it is having similar placements as what I am showing in this picture with respect to the position from Moon. That means if you make Moon as the ascendant and then you see the position of Mars, if this is same combination happening, the intensity of Savai Dosham becomes more. And second one is, I mean, the other one is the Venus. When the placement of Mars happens in the same locations from the Venus, then we can say that the intensity of this Savai Dosham is very high. All right. Now, in the North Indian chart, it is just shown here as the same thing. It's 1, 4, 7, 8, and 12. These are the positions of the moon, I mean, of the Mars, and we have to judge the horoscope based on that. Now, I'm going to give more facts about Manglik Dosha to you today, probably which you guys didn't know before. All right, this is very much important during the marriage and then matchmaking. See, it has been a very big misconception, interpreting the Shastras that the Manglik person is going to, whenever this Manglik person is going to marry a non-Manglik person, the spouse is going to die. Either it is a male or a female. Please, please, please do not get into this misconception. Our astrologers have recommended to match the Kundali so that the person who is marrying a Manglik is able to synchronize, because please understand the Mars is nothing but high energy, that's all. That means a very high energy person is marrying a low energy person. So there is a mismatch, and there is a very high chance that there is some kind of a mismatch of relationships, and the people may even separate. That's all is about the Kuja Dosham. It's nothing to do with the death of a person and things like that. Please do not believe any of those dummy astrologers who keep telling about the death of a person if it is not properly analyzed. The horoscope has to be properly analyzed. It has to be seen from Lagnath Kujadosham, that is the ascendant, then the Shukrath Kujadosham, and then Chandrath Kujadosham. If everything is very intense in particular horoscope, then the negative effects can happen. All right. Generally, it is very safe. All right. And that's exactly what is written here. The Mars energy people are very rigorous in their nature. That's all. And it is always recommended to see that the Mars energy people, they should get married a little bit later. That means in their early 30s or in the late 30s. That is better because they get more habitual and they kind of calm down after 30. If they get married very early, like in the mid 20s and things like that, there is a high chance of getting divorce or separation because their Mars will be very active and they're going to dominate the relationship, and that's going to spoil the marriage between the partners. All right. Now, in terms of male, I'm going to stress more on these three houses, that is the second house, the seventh house, and the eighth house. In any male's chart, if the Mars is strongly present from the ascendant, again, it is a hypothetical ascendant Aries, please note that it can be any of the 12 zodiac signs. Okay, if the presence of Mars is there in the second house, in the seventh house and eighth house for males, the Mangal Dosh is going to be a little bit more stronger ones. Okay, same thing in the case of females, it's going to be on the fourth house and then the eighth house, and again I have seen more commonly in the 12th house. If Mars is present in any of these three houses in the chart of females, the effect of Mangal Dosh will be more stronger. Okay, so we have to balance this properly before we decide on the marriage of the spouse. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the impact of Manglik Dosha in detail about each of these positions so that technically you understand how it really works. Okay, let's try to go into that now. Impact of Mangal Dosha. Let us say when I place the Mars in the first house, again, I'm telling you, it's not just Aries, it can be any of these. I'm putting Aries for convenience. I'm repeating this several times for the benefit of our friends who do not understand it, who are new to this, okay? Now, Mars is, let us say, placed in the first house. What is happening to the Mars? Mars has got a special drishti. I had mentioned this in the previous video, one of the videos, that Mars can aspect from its place the fourth house, seventh house, and the eighth house. Seventh house is a common aspect for all the planets, whereas Mars has got a special drishti or the aspect to the fourth placement and the eighth placement from itself. Okay, so when this happens, when Mars sees the fourth house, what happens? It creates a problem with the mother. The health of the mother can be affected, or mother can cause problem to this man as well. And then it aspects this seventh house of spouse, and there will be a lot of clashes between this person and the spouse because of arguments. There will be a lot of egoistic arguments, and the Mars here is a soldier. It fights the way. It doesn't. It always wins the point. It always wants to win the point. So it's going to dominate the wife or the husband. I'm talking about the spouse, right? And it also aspects the eighth house of longevity in a way. And also there will be some kind of health issues for this person because Mars aspects the eighth house. All right, there are some exceptions. I'm going to explain in the coming slides, but please understand the first house Mars has these impacts. Let's talk about the second house placement of Mars now. So when Mars goes to the second house in this type of Mangal Dosh, what happens? It aspects the fifth house from its fourth aspect. Okay, it aspects the eighth house from its seventh aspect, which is a natural aspect, and from its special aspect, it aspects the ninth house. So it definitely reduces the luck or bhagya of the person. Okay, and eighth house, it shows their health again. And then why I'm telling very particularly about the second house Mars is that the children of this person can have some health impact. So they may be born as handicapped children, or if again it depends on the degree and intensity of the Mars and its aspect on the fifth house. Definitely there will be some friction between this person and his children. All right. Now, the next possible combination is fourth house. Let's place Mars in the fourth house, and from the fourth house, it aspects the seventh house because of its fourth aspect. And directly, it's going to have a lot of impact on the wife or the husband. Okay, the next one, it aspects the 10th house of Karmasthanam. Karmasthanam is nothing but the place of work. So this guy is going to keep switching the occupations. Sometimes he works, sometimes he go and have a tryout on a business. He can be trying many things in his karma. All right. So he's switching jobs frequently. And then from the fourth house, it aspects the 11th house on its eighth aspect. So during this, what happens? What is 11th house? 11th house is all about incoming gains, and it's going to hamper the incoming gains, friends. All right. So placement of Mars in the fourth house is not a very good combination. The next one is seventh house. Let's put seventh house Mars here. Directly, it's going to aspect the Lagnam itself. It's going to aspect you. Mars in the seventh house gives you a spouse who is very naggy type, who is going to control you. The spouse wants to control you this time. All right. And then fourth aspect goes to the 10th house. And again, there will be fluctuations in the jobs. And again, on the eighth aspect, it comes to the finance, house of finance. The second house is all about savings and money and whatever things that you value. That's going to have a big impact by this Mars. Okay. Next combination I'm going to put is Mars in the eighth house. Eighth house, as you all know, that it is lower abdomen. It represents the lower abdomen and things like that. Okay, so whenever the Mars goes there, its fourth aspect will go to the incoming gains. Again, there will be a problem. This is a fully finance control. So eighth house Mars always controls the finance in a negative way. Why? Because it's going to have a drishti on the second house of savings and 11th house of incoming gains. Both are being problematic here. And eighth house shows that this person, if it is a female, it can be lower abdomen like uterus, will be very weak, and they may have to go through some surgical procedures. Or if it is a male, it could be a prostate gland and things like that. So certainly at one point of time, I have observed myself, this person who has the eighth house Mars will undergo some surgical procedures, and some corrections has to be done in his body, especially in the lower abdomen. All right. Next is the last one, the 12th aspect. Let's put the Mars in the 12th house, and then from there he is going to aspect the 6th house. This is a positive thing. That's why I have given it in a green highlight here. The positive aspect here is that it's going to destroy the competitors, because sixth house is all about competitors, enemies, and everything that is negative in the even the legal and court matters. So when properly is Mars is there, it aspects the sixth house. It's a good thing. The bad planet in the bad house gives Raja Yogam. That's what is the meaning of this. But there are other two minus points here, because it's going to give some mental issues and worries and misfortunes, as the fourth aspect of Mars goes to our third house of intelligence. Okay. And then the eighth house will directly impact the spouse again. There will be definitely some legal separations. Marriage is going to terminate if there is very bad impact, and there is no Shubha Drishti, or the good aspect of Jupiter or Venus or Mercury. If it is not there, this combination can lead to marriages for a person. Okay. I have seen divorces happening in this case. All right. So that's it. Now I have told you what is the problem. Now let's talk about what are the remedies naturally that might happen in your own horoscope. I told you that 6 places in the out of 12, the Mars is not good. That means you will be surprised. We are 8 billion people on this planet. That means 4 billion people are in risk. No, there is definitely, the God has made natural remedy for Kuja Dosha. So what are those? Let's discuss one by one. Let us say the Mars is present. Okay, let us say the Agnikaraka Rashi, which is the Aries. When Mars happens to be in the Lagna of Aries, or in the Lagna of Aquarius, or in the Lagna of Leo, in these three combinations, okay, I have put as one. That means these are Lagna houses. Any of these combinations, people born with Aries Lagna or a Leo Lagna or Aquarius Lagna, if they have Mars in the first house, definitely they will not have Kuja Dosham. It gets cancelled automatically. Okay, that's one good point here. The next one, the second combination here is when the Mars is its in own sign. That means the Aries sign, the Mesha Rashi, and then Vrishchik Rashi or the Scorpio. When Mars is placed in these two houses, irrespective of wherever it is placed, irrespective of whichever Lagnam it is, we say that the Mangal Dosha gets completely wiped out, because Mars doesn't harm its own house. All right. Now, next one combination of natural remedy is when Mars is placed in the second house. I had told you in the beginning that second house is Chevvai Dosham, but when you are born in Taurus Lagnam or a Vrishabha Lagnam, the Mars goes to the second house. Let us say this combination happens. Or if you are born in Simha Lagnam or the Leo Lagnam, and Mars goes to the second house. In this combination, even though Mars is placed in the second house, it's going to clear the Chevvai Dosham. The real reason here is that the owner of Gemini, okay, very important to understand, owner of Gemini is the same as owner of Virgo. It is Mercury or Buddhan. So whenever the Buddhan and Mars goes there, the Buddhan is going to give intelligence. It's going to reduce the fighting spirit of Mars. It's going to calm down the Mars, because Mercury has that intelligence to calm down this planet Mars, and that's where the ill effect of Mangal Dosh is completely reduced. All right. Next combination. Natural remedy of this is when the eighth house placement happens for Mars. For example, when it goes to Pisces or Sagittarius, that means the person who is born in Vrishabha Lagnam or the Taurus Lagnam, if he happens to have Mars placement in the eighth house, sorry, it's here. When there is a placement of Mars in Sagittarius or Dhanus Rashi, then or the Mars Mangal Dosh gets cancelled. In the same way, let us say the presence of Lagna is there in Leo and the Mars goes to the eighth house of Pisces, then also it gets cancelled. So these are special combinations, and we say that's only partial or anshik. Anshik means it's a Hindi word. Anshik is a small amsham or a small portion of Chevvai Dosham happens. Otherwise, it's very good. Okay, the next combination that gives remedy is, let us say, the 12th house placement of Mars. If the Lagnam happens to be Gemini or Scorpio, okay, wherever one is there, that is the first house. Please understand the Lagnam is this one. And whenever there is a placement of Mars in Taurus, which is the 12th house, or in the Libra, okay, the 12th house again for Scorpio Lagnam, we say that Manglik Dosha is diluted, completely diluted. Almost 90% relief will be there for them. The reason here is again the Mars is a very good friend of Taurus and Libra Lord, that is Venus. Okay, Mars and Venus are very good friends, and whenever the Mars is placed there, the effect of the 12th house Manglik Dosha is completely diluted. All right, so these are the good things, and then the last thing is if Mars is having a good benefic influence of Jupiter. See, Jupiter is Guru. So whenever there is a fight going on between two people, whenever the wise man like Jupiter enters the discussion, he will say, please stop this quarrel. It's something like that. He controls the situation. And that's what Jupiter can do. Jupiter has the drishti of 7th house, the 5th house from wherever it is placed, and then also the 9th house. See, I have put a hypothetical situation here, the placement of Jupiter in Scorpio, but Jupiter can be anywhere, and if Mars happens to be coming in the radar of Jupiter in the 5th placement from itself, or 7th or 9th placement, definitely Jupiter is going to control this Mars, and then the ill effects of the Chevvai Dosham is going to reduce. On the same time, if you talk about other Shubha Grahas, the Mercury, the Moon, and Venus, they are also going to give similar results, but a little bit diminished effects. Why? Because Jupiter is the most powerful one. Whenever Jupiter says something, the Mars is going to listen, and Mercury, Moon, and Venus are going to also do the same thing, but with a lesser impact. All right. Now, one more combination. Talk about Venus, the most friendly planet for Mars. Okay, when Venus gets exalted or Uchasthanam in Pisces, okay, so whenever this happens, and whenever the Lagnam is Pisces, the first house itself, or Sagittarius Lagnam, that means it becomes the fourth placement of Mars, or it can be a Kanya Lagnam, wherein the Mars goes to the seventh house. That means 1, 4, and seventh house. If at all Venus is placed in the Pisces and gets exalted, it's going to reduce the ill effect of Mars or Chevvai Dosham. Wherever the Mars can be placed, it doesn't matter. But if this combination of Venus is there, if Venus is in the first house, fourth house, or seventh house, with the exaltation condition, it's going to completely nullify the Manglik dosha in the horoscope. All right. So finally, one simple thing that we can do is matchmake. Means Manglik with Manglik. That means the minus of minus is plus always, right? So if a girl is Manglik and the boy is also Manglik, when they get married, the ill effect of Mars gets completely neutralized. Okay, and that's what is to be done. That's what is the job of astrologers. Whenever you go and show the chart of the boy and the girl who is supposed to get married, the astrologer always look for this combination if both of them are having Chevvai Dosham. All right, so that's the part, and then cancellation. Now let's talk about some more man-made remedies that can be done for the 8th house Mars. Let's say the Mars is placed in the 8th house, which I told you that it is going to have the Mangalya Dosham for the girl. So this happened for the famous actress Aishwarya Roy and also some one of the Marathi actress, I believe. So whenever this combination is there, when Mars for Aishwarya Roy was seen in the eighth house, she was told to get married to a tree first. Okay, and in this case, this person is getting married to a banana tree, right? Once they get married to this particular tree, they are going to chop off and kill this banana tree, so that what happens, the ill effect of the death of the husband is simulated, and then she can get married to the actual person. So this is a remedy that is practiced in India for many years now, and there is some success seen into it. Okay, we cannot just treat this as some kind of a religious practice. No, it's not that. It may be working. Okay, so I've just given one or two examples here, but there are many cases that has been successfully built, and the longevity of the husband is improved in this combination. We say that Mangalya Balam can be improved with the combination of marrying a tree and then chopping it off. All right. Now, one more point we can do here is the spiritual remedy. That means we can go ahead with the Navagraha Shanti Homam. Okay, we can give a Purnahuti, and also we can donate the red color vastram or the cloth for a Brahmin or a Brahmana. Right. Another possibility is doing the Maha Mrutyunjaya Japam. That means with the shlokam of Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarikam Bandhanat Mrutyor Mukshiya Mamratat. This is a very powerful mantram. It can even win the death of the husband. That means there is a history, there is a mythological story about Savitri. She's the lady who went even to save the husband from the god of death, Yaman. Of course, this may be a mythological story. I have no live proof about it. But what is written here in the scriptures is that whenever we chant this Mrutyunjaya Japa mantram 108 times every day, the longevity of the husband is increased. Okay, and that's why these rituals are performed for the cancellation of Mangal Dosha. Okay. Next remedy that I can normally recommend to my clients when they have this dosham is that the wearing of the gemstone. The red coral is the gemstone that is recommended for Mars or Savvai. Okay, so as long as it can be worn as a pendant or a necklace, or it can be even worn as a ring, it should be worn into this ring finger basically, and that will help to reduce the ill effect of Mars to a very considerable extent. All right. So one last point here: the deity who is related to this particular Mars is known as Shanmuga or Kartikeya. So whenever we pray, we respect the Lord Subramanya or the Kartikeya, so we are going to get the full benefit of planet Mars. Okay, and even Hanuman is directly related to Mars. Okay, so whenever we the Hanuman Chalisa or the prayers for Subramanya, it's going to clearly benefit to us. There is one particular shlokam. Let me end this video by reading this shlokam for Lord Subramanya. The shlokam is actually known as the Subramanya Gayatri Japam. It goes like this. It says, Om Tat Pushaya Vidmahe Mahasenaya Dhimahi Tanno Skanda Prachodayat. If this mantram is chanted 108 times every day by the lady who has the 8th house Mars, it will improve the longevity of the husband and longevity of the marriage itself. Okay, so this is a belief that is going on for several years, and these are the informations that I wanted to share today. Okay, we have come to the end of this video. If you have any questions, please type it in the comment section. Whenever I have time, I'm going to reply back to you. And kindly subscribe to this channel so that I get more and more encouragement to make beautiful videos like this and give you knowledge. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.